horse-drawn buggies, simple living, and millions of chickens. These are just some of the things the Amish are known for. But beneath the surface of their traditional ways, there's a side to their communities that's both surprising and fascinating. The Amish thrive in the poultry industry, raising millions of chickens for meat and eggs, all while shunning modern technology. Imagine a world where technology takes a back seat, yet millions of chickens are raised every year. That's the reality of Amish poultry farming. It's a perfect blend of tradition and industry, where the Amish carefully select breeds that will thrive in their environment, producing the best meat and eggs. Take the Rhode Island Red, for instance. Known for its friendly nature and hardiness, this bird lays up to 300 eggs a year. No fancy setups needed, just a cozy coop and room to roam, and these birds are good to go. And then there's the Cornish cross, the true rock stars of the chicken world. These birds reach market size in just 6 to 8 weeks. Talk about fast food. With their plump bodies and tender meat, they're a staple for Amish farmers, combining efficiency and flavor like no other. But it's not just about speed or production. The Amish farmers carefully consider each breed's impact on sustainability. From selecting breeds that can thrive in their environment to rotating them for diversity, they keep their flocks healthy and productive. It's all part of a sustainable farming approach, keeping their communities thriving while respecting the land. Amish farmers don't just build chicken coops, they create secure, cozy homes for their feathered friends. These coops are fortified against threats like raccoons and foxes, ensuring that the chickens are safe and sound. Some even feature nesting boxes filled with soft bedding, giving hens a plush spot to lay their eggs. After all, who wouldn't want a 5-star spot for their business? But comfort isn't the only priority. Amish coops are designed for easy cleaning too. With removable trays or floors, cleaning is a breeze, keeping pests at bay and chickens healthy. A clean coop means happy hens, and happy hens produce the best eggs. When it comes to feeding, Amish farmers keep things simple and natural. Forget processed feed. Their chickens enjoy grains, kitchen scraps, and anything they can forage from the land. It's like a buffet for the birds. The corn, oats, and even stale bread make up their diet, turning what looked like yesterday's leftovers into a gourmet meal. And let's not forget about their natural foraging. Amish chickens roam freely, digging up bugs, grass, and weeds to supplement their diet. This not only keeps them healthy, but also adds richness and flavor to their eggs. The brighter yolks and better taste are proof that these chickens live a life worth clucking about. The Amish rely heavily on fresh eggs, not just for their own food supply, but as an integral part of their local economy. I remember growing up, it always seemed like we had more eggs than we knew what to do with, Mom baking cakes, making custards, and even whipping up deviled eggs that would disappear faster than you could blink. It wasn't just about feeding the family. Eggs were a staple in the Amish community trade system. Eggs are often bartered or sold at local markets, prized for their freshness. It's a simple yet effective system. Hens do their part, and in return, their eggs help support the local economy. My grandpa used to joke that eggs were the Amish currency, and honestly, he wasn't far off. You can't beat the experience of walking into a market, knowing those eggs were laid just hours ago. But the Amish don't just rely on their hens to work magic. Managing their laying cycles is key. They make sure their hens get just the right amount of natural light and darkness to keep those eggs coming. You'll often find Amish coops strategically placed to let in enough daylight, even during the dark winter months. Stress management is crucial too. No loud machinery or distractions, just calm, peaceful hens laying eggs in a quiet, serene environment. Some Amish farmers even swear by playing classical music for their hens. While it might sound a little out there, my neighbor's eggs were always top-notch, and maybe that soothing melody made a difference. It's all part of the Amish belief that happy, healthy hens lay the best eggs, and it's clear that the care and attention they put into their hens' well-being make a noticeable difference. The Amish don't pack their chickens into tiny spaces like commercial poultry operations. Instead, these birds spend most of their time wandering, stretching their legs, and building up those drumsticks, literally. The result? Healthier chickens that not only grow strong but develop delicious, flavorful meat. Think of it as the free-range chicken with an Amish twist. My grandpa used to joke that if chickens had step counters, they'd probably rack up more steps than I did as a kid. And to be honest, he was probably right. But it's not just about running around. Life for an Amish meat chicken is carefully managed from hatchling to dinner plate. These birds are given everything they need to grow quickly and naturally, and the seasons play a big role in their care. In the warmer months, the chickens are practically spoiled. Lush grazing lands are teeming with insects, grasses, and anything else a chicken could dream of pecking at. It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet, and the chickens are more than happy to dig in. Summer is their prime time to roam, and you can see the joy in their waddling, sun-soaked struts. It's a chicken's paradise. But when winter rolls around, things get a bit trickier. You can't exactly have chickens pecking around in the snow, right? This is where the Amish really shine with their ingenuity. They move their birds into warm, insulated coops to protect them from the harsh weather. While the chickens aren't foraging as much, their diet is carefully adjusted to keep them healthy and growing. It's like switching from an outdoor workout to a cozy home gym routine. No less effective, just a little more sheltered. And if you've ever been on an Amish farm during winter, you know nothing goes to waste. Even the chicken manure gets put to good use as fertilizer for next year's crops. That's sustainability at its finest. Now, you might be wondering how these birds stay happy despite all the seasonal changes. Well, it comes down to keeping things natural and stress-free. When chickens are raised with care, they grow better and taste better too. The Amish believe in giving their animals the best life possible, whether it's winter or summer, hatchling or hen, and trust me, you can taste the difference when that chicken finally makes its way to the dinner table. The key to the Amish method is balance. The birds get enough room to roam, plenty of sunshine in the warmer months, and a stress-free environment year-round. They're never rushed or crammed into tiny spaces, and that makes a huge difference. My grandpa always said, "A happy chicken makes for a happy dinner," and after tasting some of those Amish-raised chickens, I had to say he wasn't wrong. What's more, these chicken-raising traditions have been passed down through generations. The same methods that worked 100 years ago still work today because they work with nature, not against it. As a result, the chickens live full, active lives before they become part of the family meal, a life that's as humane as it is healthy. And that's something you won't find from your typical supermarket bird. But here's the thing, one of the most heartwarming aspects of Amish chicken farming isn't just how they care for their animals, it's how they care for each other. If you've ever seen an Amish farm in action, you'll notice right away that it's never a one-man show. There's a deep sense of community that's woven into everything they do, and chicken farming is no exception. Amish farmers rely on one another for help, whether it's lending a hand with construction or sharing feed. You could say it's a flock mentality, where everyone pitches in for the common good. But what's really special is how they come together when it's time for chicken processing. This isn't your typical factory-style operation. Oh no, it's a community event. Amish families often have what's called a chicken processing day, where everyone in the neighborhood gets involved. It's like a barn raising, but with feathers. Imagine a big open space, tables set up, neighbors arriving with their birds in tow, and plenty of work to be done. But here's the twist, it's not all about work. It's also about laughter, stories, and catching up with friends. And believe me, there's no shortage of chicken jokes flying around. Why did the chicken cross the roads? Sure, it might be overused in the outside world, but in an Amish community, it still gets a chuckle, especially after a long day of plucking feathers. These processing days are incredibly efficient because, let's face it, many hands make light work. One farmer might handle the chickens, while another takes care of the cleaning. Others might help package the meat or manage the feathers, which, by the way, don't go to waste. Those feathers can be used for pillows or even insulation. Everyone has a role, and the best part? No one feels burdened because it's a shared effort. By the end of the day, families leave with plenty of fresh chicken, and everyone walks away with a sense of accomplishment. What stands out about these events is the cooperative spirit passed down through generations. This isn't just about getting the job done. It's about strengthening bonds between families. You know that feeling when you spend a day working hard with friends or family, and by the end, you're all tired but incredibly satisfied? That's what an Amish chicken processing day feels like. It's not just about producing food, it's about feeding the soul. But even with all their know-how and communal support, Amish chicken farmers aren't immune to the challenges that come with the trade. If you think farming chicken sounds like a walk in the park, think again. There's so much more to it than tossing grain and collecting eggs. For the Amish, the weather, disease prevention, and unpredictable market fluctuations can make even the most seasoned farmers break a sweat. Let's start with the weather. It's one of those things you can't control, but have to work around. When winter hits hard in Amish country, it's not just the people bundling up. The chickens have to stay warm too. A cold snap can slow down egg production faster than you can say scrambled. That's why Amish farmers use well-insulated coops to help their hens stay cozy through the bitter months. On the flip side, when the summer sun blazes down, chickens aren't exactly fans of getting fried, at least not while they're still alive. Farmers have to keep them cool and make sure they stay hydrated. And let's be real, when you're raising hundreds or even thousands of chickens, this can turn into a full-time job. Each season brings its own set of challenges, and the Amish, with their deep respect for nature, know they have to adapt. But weather isn't the only concern. Disease is another big one, especially in a close-knit community where animals live in tight quarters. Just like people, chickens can spread illness fast if precautions aren't taken. And no, we're not talking about handing out tiny chicken-sized face masks. The Amish stick to natural remedies and preventive care. They're known for using herbs and other holistic practices to keep their flocks healthy. And let's not forget the cleanliness factor. Maintaining a clean and healthy environment is a key part of keeping the chickens thriving. Amish coops are kept tidy with regular cleaning routines that would put some city apartments to shame. But even with the best practices in place, there's always the possibility of something going wrong. When disease does strike, it's all about containment and ensuring it doesn't spread through the rest of the flock. Here's a quirky fact that might surprise you. Chickens can be picky eaters when they're sick, just like us. No amount of coaxing will get them to eat their grains when they're not feeling well. But don't worry, the Amish have plenty of tricks up their sleeves to encourage their birds to peck at something, even if it's not their favorite snack of the day. Now, let's talk about market fluctuations. It's not always easy to predict how much a dozen eggs or a whole chicken will fetch at the local market. Prices can swing up or down depending on demand, the season, or even national trends. One month, Amish farmers might be getting top dollar for their free-range, farm-fresh eggs. The next, they might find themselves scrambling, no pun intended, to make a decent profit. But if there's one thing you can bet on, it's that the Amish don't let market fluctuations get them down. They live a frugal lifestyle and have a knack for planning ahead, which helps them ride out the rough patches. When times are good, they save and reinvest in their farms. When times are tough, well, they just tighten their belts and keep going. But let's not get too serious here. The Amish are practical, sure, but they've got a sense of humor about things too. After all, sometimes the only thing you can do when facing yet another challenge is laugh it off. There's an old joke that floats around in Amish communities. Why did the chicken cross the road? To check the market price on the other side. It's one of those small ways they stay lighthearted, even when things aren't going as smoothly as planned. I guess the moral of the story is, never let a chicken cross the road unless it has a good reason. And market fluctuations? Well, that might just be one of those good reasons. Despite these challenges, what really stands out is the resilience of the Amish. They've been farming for generations and they've seen it all. Bad weather, disease outbreaks, economic downturns, you name it. Yet they continue to adapt and thrive. Their approach to farming is deeply rooted in their values of simplicity, hard work, and patience. It's not just about quick fixes. It's about building something that lasts. When they face a problem, they don't panic. They come together, figure out a solution, and carry on. It's a mindset that many of us could take a page from. There's something refreshing about the Amish approach to challenges. Whether it's the weather or market prices, they never let the bad days define them. Instead, they see each hurdle as something that can be overcome with a bit of ingenuity, a lot of effort, and sometimes a good joke to lighten the mood. They aren't just farmers, they're problem solvers, always thinking ahead and staying one step ahead of whatever comes their way. And that's why no matter what Mother Nature or the market throws at them, Amish chicken farming continues to thrive. Amish chicken farming isn't just about raising birds. It's about building a sustainable way of life that can be passed down through generations. The methods they use today aren't some fancy New Age trend. They're time-tested practices that have been honed through centuries of farming. One of the biggest elements of their sustainability approach is how they manage their land. Crop rotation, for example, is like the secret sauce to keeping the soil healthy. By changing up the crops they plant, the Amish ensure that the land gets a break and remains fertile year after year. It's a practice that's as old as farming itself, and it's one of the key reasons why Amish farms continue to flourish. Each year, the Amish rotate their crops to avoid depleting the nutrients in the soil. It's nature's way of getting a well-deserved break. One year, corn. The next, soybeans. And just like that, the soil is happy again. The chickens play their part too, scratching around and fertilizing the earth as they forage. No synthetic fertilizers, no chemicals, just a natural cycle that keeps everything in balance. It's the perfect example of how the Amish approach farming, in harmony with nature, not against it. Now, let's talk about waste management. When you've got hundreds of chickens, you're dealing with a lot of, well, chicken poop. And while that might sound like a messy problem, the Amish see it as a valuable resource. This is where composting comes in. Chicken manure, mixed with straw and other organic matter, gets turned into rich compost that's spread back on the fields. It creates a closed-loop system where nothing goes to waste. The fields get naturally fertilized and the chickens help keep the cycle going. But sometimes, things don't go quite as planned. I remember hearing a funny story about a young Amish farmer who decided to experiment with composting. He had a nice big pile of compost going in the corner of his yard, and one morning, he thought it'd be a good idea to let his chickens roam free to help break it down. The only problem? He didn't account for how enthusiastic the chickens would get. Before long, the whole yard was covered in compost, and the chickens were running around like they'd hit the jackpot. It was like a free-range salad bar had opened up overnight. Let's just say, it took him the better part of the day to get everything back in order. Lesson learned. Compost and chickens, while a great combo, can lead to some hilarious farm chaos if you're not careful. Sustainability isn't just about the here and now, it's about what comes next. The Amish deeply believe in passing on their farming traditions to the younger generation. It's not uncommon to see kids as young as 5 or 6 helping out on the farm, learning the ropes from their parents and grandparents. By the time they're teenagers, they're already well-versed in things like crop rotation, chicken care, and composting. And it's not just about keeping the farm running. It's about preserving a way of life that's lasted for centuries. What makes this even more remarkable is that despite all the technological advancements out there, the Amish choose to stick with their traditional methods. Sure, it might be easier to bring in a big tractor or use chemical fertilizers, but that's not the point for them. Farming is about stewardship, taking care of the land and animals in a way that honors God's creation. And part of that is ensuring these practices are sustainable for future generations. It's like planting a tree today, knowing your grandchildren will enjoy its shade. And let's not forget the community aspect. Sustainability isn't something the Amish do alone. It's a shared effort. Neighbors help each other out, whether it's lending a hand with composting or rotating crops. This sense of cooperation strengthens not just their farming practices, but also their bonds as a community. It's the kind of long-term thinking that ensures Amish farms will continue to thrive generation after generation. In many ways, the Amish model of sustainability is something the rest of the world could learn from. While the rest of us are scrambling to figure out how to go green and reduce our carbon footprints, the Amish have been quietly doing it all along. They're not interested in making headlines or winning awards for environmentalism. They're just doing what they've always done, taking care of the land so it can take care of them in return. Amish chicken farming isn't just about feeding a family or making a living. It's a reflection of simplicity, community, and sustainability. The way they care for their chickens, their land, and each other reminds us that sometimes the best lessons come from staying true to the basics. Visiting an Amish farm showed me that the connection between the food on our plates and the people who grow it is more meaningful than any trip to the grocery store could ever teach. And hey, after watching those chickens roam freely, adding character to the farm, maybe it's time we all consider raising a few of our own. Who wouldn't want a clucking roommate to wake up to? Just imagine the fresh eggs and the entertainment. No alarm clock needed.